Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dietrich and we are sitting in a Hyundai Ioniq 6, and today I am going to teach you how to use the smart cruise control and the lane following assist in this vehicle. So these are two separate systems. The smart cruise control is what allows the vehicle to maintain a distance from the car in front of you. It can even bring itself to a complete stop if the car in front of you brings itself to a complete stop, which sounds a little bit intimidating if you've never used it, but I will demonstrate it for you. The lane following assist is this button right here. It's an independent system from the smart cruise control. You can turn it on either with or without the smart cruise, but what it does is it uses the car's camera to read the lane lines and help you keep the steering centered within the lane. But it's not a self-driving system. Neither of these are self-driving systems. It is always up to you to watch the road and be prepared to intervene if need be. So as far as the controls go, the smart cruise is very easy to use. Once we are out on the street, we push this button right here with the little car with the clock on it. That's actually supposed to be a speedometer to set the system. At that point, it automatically sets the cruise to whatever speed you're going, and it starts following the car in front of you if there is a car in front of you. When you're using the smart cruise control, if there's no car in front of you, it will just go the set maximum speed that you have set. So to change your set speed, we have a plus and a minus right here. So toggle up to go faster, toggle down to go slower, and if you push and hold or push and hold, it will increase or decrease in 5-mile-per-hour increments. The little pause and arrow in a circle, that's for canceling or resuming. So if you have to tap the brakes to avoid something, or if the car brings itself to a complete stop and it prompts you to hit the resume, that's resume right there. It also cancels when the cruise is in effect. You can also just hit the brake pedal to cancel it as well. This little button with the car with the laser beams coming out of the back of it, that is to adjust the following distance from the vehicle in front of you, so you can have a further or a shorter following distance. I live in Southern California, and whenever I use these systems, I am typically on freeways, so I always use the shortest following distance to prevent people from cutting me off and getting in front of me. If I'm on a drive kind of out on the open road where there's a little bit less traffic, then I will set a longer following distance, but that's just my preference. Your mileage may vary. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, that button is to turn the lane following system on or off. This button on this Ioniq 6 changes what I'm looking at in the center screen, so I am going to set it to that display right there. And again, that's the little button with the pages on it, because that's the one that gives us the information for the driver assistance systems. So with all that being said, let's get this beauty out on the road and try it out. Okay, so we are out on the road. We have our display set so that we can see what we're doing. I'm going to push the little button with the car with the clock on it to start the system, and now you can see that it is set at 40 miles per hour. We are locked onto the car in front of us. It's represented by that little bar of soap in front of us right there. I'm also going to push the steering wheel with the lanes on it to turn the lane keeping assist on. So now we have the laser beam coming out of the front of us, and there's no curves in this road really, so it's not going to do a whole lot, but it is going to read the lane lines. Now here we go. He's going to get out of my way. There's actually a cop with a motorcycle in front of me. We're coming up to a red light, so I'm going to take this opportunity to just hit the brake and come to a complete stop. Let's see if this cop notices me filming. That would be funny. All right, so we are going to start moving again, and what I'm going to do, since the cop is going to be breaking the law by speeding and not using a turn signal, he's out of the picture. So I'm going to push down on this button to resume. Now I have resumed my cruising at 40 miles per hour. I'm going to hit the plus a few times just to increase my speed to make sure that I'm keeping up with traffic. For demonstration purposes, I don't want to break the speed limit, but I do want to make sure that I am locked onto the vehicle in front of me, which I am now. Again, that is represented by the bar of soap in front of the car. And we are just kind of cruising along. So, a couple of things to keep in mind here, and one of them was demonstrated when we were coming up to that last light. Motorcycles. I'm not a huge fan of following motorcycles with various smart cruise control systems. It's a smaller target. The car may have issues recognizing it. One of my personal vehicles is actually an Acura Integra, and it knows when it's locked onto a motorcycle. It gives you a little icon of it. But when you're just locked onto a Honda Accord like that, you come to almost a complete stop. The car did that on its own. I didn't hit the brake or the gas, and now we are starting moving again. These are the sort of traffic conditions where the system does do its best work, especially on the freeway in heavy stop and go traffic. So again, the car is accelerating. I have my maximum speed set to 48 right now. We're only doing 38 because it's dependent on the vehicle in front of us. And the way the system works is if every car got out of my way right now, this thing would just speed up to 48 miles per hour and just stay there. Now, I can see up ahead. I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but the light is red up ahead. So we are slowing down. The car is slowing itself down because the vehicle in front of us is slowing down. But if there were no cars whatsoever in front of me and it was a red light, this system does not read traffic lights. So it would just blow through the red light. So again, it's up to you to pay attention and be ready to hit the brakes if need be there. Now, that car got out of our way. We now have another bar of soap to be locked onto here. So we are continuing to cruise, and we will now accelerate up to the maximum speed of 48 miles per hour that I have set, although at this time we're only doing 35. Something else to keep in mind, inclement weather. I have used adaptive cruise control systems in the rain. Typically works just fine. I would recommend using this button to set yourself a longer following distance if it were raining. Just to give the car more time to react. And of course, in bad weather, you make extra sure that you're paying attention to the vehicles around you and the road conditions. I've never used adaptive cruise control in snowy or icy conditions, and I don't really recommend it. I think when the road surface is very slippery like that, it's probably best that you don't use it and maintain full vigilance over the vehicle, which you should do at all times anyway. But for now, we're just kind of cruising along. We are locked onto the back of a standard pickup truck here, no issues. Now I do see a traffic issue coming up. Let's see, this nice person is getting out of my way. I'm gonna come into this lane, and there we go. And now I can see that the lane following is active again because the little lane lines are white and I have the laser beam coming out of the car, and now they've gone away because the lane lines went away. So you know when the lane following is working because you have the laser beam coming out of the front of the car and you have the white lines on the side of the car. That means that it can read the lines, and it helps you adjust your steering and keep you centered in the lane. But again, it is not a self-driving system. It is meant to, okay, now, all right, the car caught it and it slowed down and stopped, and we're still cruising. So what happened there, the guy got in front of me. He didn't cut me off too close to where the car couldn't figure out what was going on, but if it was much closer, I would have hit the brake. I didn't hit the brake in that instance. I was ready to, if need be, but I didn't do it because I could see that the car was recognizing him and slowing down. So again, be wary. The system mainly looks forward. If someone cuts you off really sharply from the side, just hit the brake. You know, don't get into an accident because you're using your adaptive cruise control. And now I have to use the switch or the pedal to accelerate because we've been stopped a little too long. And since we're not on a freeway that the navigation system recognizes, the highway driving assist doesn't kick in. So I'm just going to push down on that toggle switch for the resume button. And now the vehicle accelerates. And here we go on down the road. One other thing to keep in mind is what type of vehicle are you following? The example I always use here besides the motorcycle is a flatbed delivery truck with nothing on the bed of the truck. Are you locked onto the actual rear of the vehicle, or are you locked onto the back of the cab? So with something like that, if it feels like you're following the vehicle too closely, either disable the adaptive cruise control and drive the vehicle yourself, or just get behind a more normal shaped vehicle. I can't think of a better shape for the car to lock onto than an old Chevrolet van. That's about as simple as it gets there. If you have any questions about the system, you can definitely feel free to put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. As far as the highway driving assistant on this car, when you're on a freeway that the car recognizes, it shows you the other cars around you as bars of soap, kind of like a Tesla, just showing you what's there on the screen, which is kind of limited usefulness. But you can also make the car change lanes on its own, but it's not the best system in the Hyundais. I'll put a link to a test drive video I did where I kind of play with it a little bit, and it's, I would say, of limited usefulness in this car, but it does work. All right, now we have yellow light, red light, everybody's slowing down, the car's slowing down, it's bringing itself to a complete stop. And there we are, now we're stopped. And I don't have my foot on the brake or the gas. I'm being told what I need to do to get moving again once the light turns green, so I'm just going to tap the accelerator pedal briefly, and off we go. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the lane following and the smart cruise control in a Hyundai. It is a very good system. I recommend that you try it when you feel comfortable with it. Oh, see, here we go. Now I'm coming up to a red light. I'm going to keep going straight here, so I'm going to hit the brakes. I just hit the brake, and now I am control the vehicle because this one will not recognize traffic signals. So I brought the car to a complete stop. And what a way to end the video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. I really appreciate you watching my video. If you could hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, it would really help me out. And always drive safely. Bye-bye.